Hello and welcome again. This is Prince. And yeah, good. My role to all my mentees and students is to empower you, right? It's to encourage you, it's to inspire you that you can succeed in time if you follow Prof. Prince. So our next batch is starting up, and we have lots of students in our WhatsApp group. And my goal is to inspire you, is to provide you direction, mentorship, and coaching. And many of you are going to be starting in our next part have been asking, hey, can I succeed in this? What am I supposed to be doing now in order for me to succeed in this career? And in my previous tutorial, getting started tutorial, we have focused on command lines, right? The tools that you need to install. And one of the tools that you had to install was Git Bash. And Git Bash is installed on almost all operating systems. We can install it on Windows, Mac, and Linux operating systems. So in today's tutorial, in our getting started, this is going to be a little bit, this is going to introduce you to the command line interface, but I'm going to make it very easy. As we know, uh, there are two basic approaches on how we interact with our operating systems, Windows to be specific. So, for example, let's look at files, right? I hope we don't know everything about operating system is files, right? So we can create files on Windows by using what they call the GUI. GUI is a graphical user interface, something like this. One second, I want to share my screen. Sometimes, we learn you know, by doing, right? So let's say, for example, I want to create files, right? So you're going to see this is my desktop, right? You can see I'm in the pictures folder. This I go to the desktop folder, for example, and I have all of this here. I can what? I can create file. So this approach is called the graphical user interface. All of us are used to this. So some of us have our resumes, just like, so these are files. So the file, right? We'll talk about files. It's very important that you understand. We have different types of files. Okay. A picture is a file. Okay, I hope you know that. Music tracks on your system are files. That's why we have different types of file formats, sorry, right? PDF documents are files. I hope you know that. Don't hear about files. It's not just limited to, yeah, my resume. No, everything on your system is files. All the applications that we access, be it on desktop applications, Android or iOS applications, they all resolve around files. And that's why learning how to manage files is so important. And so we start looking at file management. Okay, this is the first place you have to start because then every operating system is all about files and folders. Let me show you. When you buy your computer, you will discover that it came, your hard drive came with this drive, right? See this drive here? See everything in here? These are what? These are default folders that they came with it. And so if you click on this folder, what do you see? You see what? Another E drive folder there. But if you continue to look further, now what? You see files. See that? These are now files. But again, this is a folder, a lib stands for library. And again, in the lib folder, we have other folders. Right? So what? This is the core of your Windows operating system. Now, do you know that I could also access this same using what? Using the command line interface. So I don't even need to, because the command line interface one, it offers you the most effective and efficient approach to, interacting with your operating system, be it Windows, Mac. Mac has the Mac terminal. Okay. So everything you're going to be doing on Windows, if you open your Mac terminal, you can do the exact same thing. The interfaces may be different, but the result we're looking for is very similar and can be replicated. So these are files, right? And all of that. So this is the graphical user interface, what we are used to. But as somebody who is about getting into six figures careers, you want to learn tech, become a tech engineer, or a software professional, or a cloud architect, cybersecurity analyst, and all of that, you must learn how to work with commands. And so in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the Linux command lines, but we are going to use a different software, okay? And I want to limit this to Windows because I know that all of you have Windows systems, all right? Or at least 98% of you have Windows systems. And so we are going to work with this on Windows. So for this, let's open up our Git Bash. So this is my Git Bash. We're just going to clear my screen as such. Okay, see that? And let's reduce the font size. Let's first of all talk about the commands we are going to be looking at, right? So we're looking at basic Linux commands, but again, we are focusing on Git Bash. And what I want to do is I want to focus more on files and directories. And we are going to, we are going to interface, we're going to look at it from all directions, okay? So why Git Bash on Windows? Because we have all installed Git Bash. If you haven't, just look at the videos that we have shared with you and go through the Git Bash video. It's very easy and you have a Git Bash installed. So of course, most users use Windows, so it's easy to do this on Windows. And Git Bash gives Linux-like experience. Okay, so Git Bash is what we call a shell, not a shell, or what we call an SSH client. So secure share client. We are going to use Git Bash to interact with a lot of other platforms like AWS, GCP, and Azure. So Git Bash is a good place to start for a beginner. And as we advance, we can progress to use WSL Ubuntu. We can progress to use, Linux systems in the cloud. And that's going to be the tutorial for next week. We are going to be introducing AWS. But for this week, we want to focus only on command line. And these are all introduction to get you started, to build your confidence so that when we start our program, nobody is going to be left behind. So, of course, Git Bash is also a safe environment for beginners, just like me. So, understanding files and directories. I hope you know. So, like I was explaining, okay, if you look at your Windows operating system, everything there's about what files and directories. So, on the command line, we refer to folders as directories. On your graphical user interface, okay, these are folders. I explain this. So let's say you're going to apply for a job. You walk into a documentation and you can say, hey, you know what? Oh, do you have a binder? Do you have a folder? You buy the folder and you can slot in other folders and other documents. Right? That is you managing yourself. You want to be more organized and presentable. So in the folder we have files. So it's just like container and content. Which one is more important? When the container is missing, we are more concerned about the content of the container. It's when somebody loses maybe a suitcase, they are concerned about the files or the content of that suitcase, which could be other folders, and those folders are files. Okay. So look at something, right? So the reason why I'm trying to explain this because I want to take away the fear. I want you to be comfortable and even, in fact, this is a practical. You have to be able to practice this, okay? So these are folders. You can see in my download folder, I have other files. So these are pictures files, okay? Pictures files here. You have PDF, You have, all kinds of files. Okay, JPEG. These are all files in my download folder. Okay, that's the graphical user interface. If I want to create this file, I do what? Just go here to new. Okay, or even just right click here. You see, I can go to new, and of course, what? I can create a new folder, new file. Okay, these are everything, all the different types of files and folders that you can create on your Windows using what is in the graphical user interface. So our objective here is to achieve the exact same thing, but this time around we want to use the command line interface. Okay, so now we understand files. What we're going to do is that we are going to create a folder here. See, let's say, okay, I want to create a folder, right? So I can want to create a folder. There we go. Right. See that? I'm creating what? The folder manually. Just call it what? January 12th. Okay. Linux demo. See that? That's my folder. Created. Okay, that is created. Hmm? The graphical user interface. So now, if I want to create the exact same thing using the command line, I have to use a command. So, by the way, right, files store data. Okay, that's what we're going to see when we get to source code management, right? We don't versions control the directories. We version controls the files in those directories because it has data. Think about your resume. You have data on your resume. An example of data is your name, your address, LinkedIn profile, email address, right? Everything you put on that file is referred to as data. Directories, our folders, right? The organized files. Linux treats everything as a file, not just Linux. All operating system treats everything as a file. So that is very, very important to understand. So let's look at, okay, I was talking about, okay, our very first command, right? So we're talking about pwd. So look at it here. We have what? We have pwd. You can see where we are. So there's a couple of things I want you to notice. See that this is pwd, and of course, what? It stands for present working directory. So you want to know exactly where you are on the operating system. You run pwd. See that? P what? Pwd. And again, what? It also works as caps. That's a very first command. You want to know that one, okay? So that command tells you where you are, but we want to create a directory in the downloads folder. So how do I get there? We use what? We use the cd command. Cd stands for change directory. So we can do what? Change directory. I want to go to downloads. So I can what? Type what? Downloads. Now, do I have a directory on my computer called downloads? The answer is, you see that? So this is where I want to go. I could just what? I could just, so is this also on the graphical user interface like this? This is a GUI. I'm just going to, double click there. That is equivalent to CD. When you double click, you open to access. So you access a folder using your mouse by double clicking. On the command line, you command CD. Very easy. So now we do CD here, okay? CD downloads, and then we hit enter. There you go. And now you can see. So now if I type what? pwd again, where am I? See that? So yeah, of course, what? Now I am in the C drive. That's where I began my journey or my interaction in this on my system. In the users folder, my username is immigration. And of course, what? I am in the downloads directory. So this is good. Now, so you see we had what? So we had pwd to find out where we are. So again, what? I can type pwd again. See that these commands are so easy. Just know them. What does pwd stands for? Present working directory. Other textbook refer to it as print working directory. Right? So you find out where exactly you are. As I explained in my other video, let's say you are at home, but you are in the sitting area. I can ask you, hey, James. So PWD say, hey, okay, I'm home and I'm in my parlor or in my sitting room, right? And so PWD, the exact location where you are in the house. That's a PWD. Okay. The next command is the make directory command. Make. What does make stand for? Make stands to create, right? So you want to create a new directory, just like what we did. So if you come here, right, you can what? So this is equivalent to make when you go to new folder. Okay, so folders on our command line, you refer to them as directories. So let's say we create one here. Let's call it January 12 what? Tutorial. Okay. We are going to work in this directory. Tutorial. Enter. How do I confirm? Can I confirm that I got this? The answer is yes. We can what? Do ls here. And you're going to see, it's going to list everything that I have in my downloads directory, ls. So how many commands have we looked at so far? We have the pwd command, the cd command, and of course what make directory and the ls command, the list command. You're going to see how we're going to use these commands, every now and then. So let's go out. If I come here, right? If I come here, you're going to see it's there. See that? So what? So this is the folder that I just created just now. No, this is one. It's called what? Gen 12 tutorial. So you can see it in my downloads folder, right? Very, very important. So now, okay, the reason why this is taking time is because my download folder is very heavy. But of course, what I want to list everything there. So you can see that. I can press Control Z, right, or Control C to key the process. Okay, we can do what? Control C to key the process. Talk about that. Well, now you can see that what that is stop. But now that's what. So let's instead get in here so that we can be able to. So that's what. Again, we type cd into what? Into Gen 12. Okay. Gen 12. Okay. To what? Tutorial. Type the whole thing. So clear my screen. So now what the commands we've looked at? The first command is what is the ls command. You can see we have nothing in there. And to prove this, if we go to this folder and then what? See that? We have nothing here. There's nothing in there. So please what? You see that it's empty. That's why when you run ls here, we don't see anything, right? See? ls here, there's nothing. Excellent. I love this because it start building your confidence. So this is what us working on our Windows computer on the command line interface. And now I want to create files and directories in that particular directory. Now what? I use my make directory command and I will say Linux, okay, commands. See that? There you go. Let's pay attention. Make directory space. Now, if I do make directory demo, this is what? This is going to give me a command of farm. So this is because Linux commands are space and case sensitive. See that? That's it. It gives you what command of farm. But if I put just one space here, that like that, so it doesn't matter. One space, 100 space is very okay. So one space here. See that? Now I have demo. So again, if I come back here, see that? Now we have what? We have demo and we have Linux. So let's again go back and let's again what? Make more. So clear my screen. LSAC, I have what? I have demo. Let's again what? Make a directory here. Let's call it prof pranks. Okay, like this. And let's again what? Make another directory here called, let's call it January 12th, for example. Right? And you can see if I do ls here, what do I see? I can see all the content of the, January 12th tutorial. So therefore, what? I have added more folders. When you see this yellow or whatever, this orange, that's what that stands for folder, right? So we have what? Looked at how to create a folder from the command line on your Windows computer. And then the clear command clears your screen. Else here we are able to list. Hmm? So that is folder. How about files? So one thing you're going to discover is that from the command line, we only create a certain type of file. You cannot create .docs, okay, or Excel or PDF. No, the command line doesn't have those technologies just yet. Okay, but whatever can create, different types of files with extensions. So let's say we what. So that's the first one. So that's file, right? So if I want, no, that's directory. If I want to create a file that I can write in, I'll do what? Touch. And let's say we touch Linux commands. See that? There you go. Now if I do ls here, you're seeing that the ls-r, a second, we touch Linux commands. Where is it showing us that? So this is why Git Bash has some, okay, but this is touch. So this should not be showing as a directory because touch command only creates a file. But I'm surprised. So let's something here again. Let's do what? Touch demo dot what? Demo dot txt. Now we put an extension and we do LSC. Okay, great. Let's see. Touch demo 2. So why is this? Oh yeah, see that? So the touch command creates a file. And honestly speaking, I cannot explain to you how this command ended up with the directory. I don't know. I cannot explain that. Okay. So now you see that now, so you can what? You can quickly distinguish between a directory and a file. See that? This is a file. And of course, what? These are directories. So if you go back to our PowerPoint, because I like to do that. Okay. So we have what? Peter. So now we have PWD always what? Always know your location, show your current directory. That's what PWD does. Now we have ls, the list command, right? Listing what files and folders. We have list, ls-r, ls-a. Let's talk about this. So now we come back here. So when I run ls here, right, to list, I see, of course, I see everything in the January 12 tutorial, but I don't see the properties or the property of the files and directories that I have. If I run ls-r, this is called long listing, right? And you can see that. Now, ls here, we see it lists 9 different formats. So now we're getting comfortable, right? So not just the colors that it's not just the colors that distinguishes between files and directories, but here what you can see that directory starts with D. These are folders, right? It starts with D, and files will always start with a dash or a hyphen. It's very, very important that you understand these distinctions. Directories will contain all the directories and files, just like so. Directories are also referred to as folders, right? This makes sense. So how many commands have we looked at so far? We have what? PWD command. Okay. We have the ls command, the ls-r command. We have the clear command to clear our screen. We also have the history command. Okay. See that? Perfect. History command. Okay. To list all the commands that we have been executing so far, we have the history command. So summary, make directory, make what? Directory class 28. See that? There you go. How do I confirm? ls command, I want to list. And you can see class 28. If I want to see the specifics of the properties of the files and directory, run what? ls-l. I can also run ls-a to see if I have any kind of hidden directories in my present working directory. And if we run pwd for print working directory, you can see that is exactly where we are. Now, let's say, for example, I want to access the demo directory and I want to create a few things there around what? cd into demo. See that? There we go. And now we can do what? We can do touch Linux 1. Okay, see that? Now if I run ls here, I have just one file, Linux 1. If I run ls-l, what do you see? See that? Now, we won't talk about um, this for now, okay? This is referred to as file security. We'll talk about this when you actually start the program, so I won't be covering this, but I'm just looking for where you can easily start. I like you to start, what's that? Challenging yourself with these commands so that you can really get to understand them better. So you can see that, right? It's very easy. So now you can see that's mine. So what? With CD, I was able to get in there. Now what? Make it directly again what? Call what? Let's call this LionTech, for example. And you can see. So now if I run what? PWD, see that? So where am I? How do you interpret this? How about I CD again into LionTech? Okay, and now what? I run again under PWD. Looks very scary, but not scary. So let's go ahead here and we prove. I'm going to first of all show you. So now, see this here. So this is the folder that we have. So did we create any of this manually or from the graphical user interface? The answer is no. We are doing everything from the command line, right? So if we get into the demo directory here, see that? Yeah, there we go. So we have a file. Okay, type is file. And if you click here again, the type what? It's a file folder. So you can even see, right? And you can see when it was created. You can also what? Look at the properties of this file. And you can look at security. Yeah, talk about this in file permissions. I'm happy to, to kind of, trick your mind or start getting your mind ready for that, right? So if we get in here, we what? See the file is empty. LionTech is empty there. So if I want to go back from here, I'll do what? cd space dot dot. I'm going to get here. cd what? Space dot dot. I'm going to come here. Make sense? I think this is good. All right. So now, if I come back here again on my command line, using Git Bash, again, the clear command is going to clear. See that? Now, if I do this also, it's going to work. But on an actual Linux operating system, that command is going to give you command not found. It's just that Git Bash is programmed to accept that particular, command being written in upper cases. All right. So you can see we have nothing in there, and just okay. Let's take a step backwards. So you can see we are in demo, and then what? Let's say we touch our file there, call again. Let's call it what? Linux 2. Okay. And we again what? Touch Linux 3. Right? Very important. So you can see again ls right, ls-l and all of that, right? Very, very important. Okay. That's file management. So now, what if we want to arrange, let's say we want to move everything here to this folder. So let's say, for example, right? So if I come back here, see that I have what? So I want to move on the graphical user interface. I'm just going to what? See that? Move this here. Okay. See that? It's moved. Okay. So therefore, what? See that? It's moved. So now, if I come back to mine, okay, come here, ls here, right? See that? We don't see Linux 1 again. It's been moved into the LionTech directory, right? But can we achieve on the command line? Yes, we can with what? With the move command. I can do what? Move what? Linux. Okay? Linux 3 into what? Into LionTech. And you're going to see that it achieved the exact same thing that I had wanted to, that I have just achieved on the graphical user interface using mouse. The move command, it moved. See that? It's gone. Now we can again what? Move what? Linux 2 into what? Into LionTech. And you can see, oh no, so it's move, not MB, right? It's move like this. Now if run what? From LS here, you can see I have just one thing. But if I do cd to LionTech, see that? I can see everything here. So therefore, the same thing, right? If you come back here, we're going to what? You notice that all the files we had here, we have moved them. So the move command is used for that. Okay? So one second. So what is the move command is used to move. But now the move command is also what? It's also used to do something else. And this is often an interview question, right? So let's say what? Say we touch a file called, let's go back here. Okay. Dot here, okay. Clear my screen. So let's say we touch what? Let's touch Elvis. And again we touch Daniel, okay? Now you notice that Daniel is spelled with lowercase d, but Daniel is a proper noun. So if you go back to demo, so let's see that? Here we go. If I want to correct this, I can what? Click here, and I'm going to go to more options, and what? You see where it says rename. Okay, one second. See that? Yeah, but there's often what? There's often an option to rename that file. There's nothing in there. But what? Yeah. So I'm not seeing that now, but of course, what? Sometimes when you click, see like here, you can what? You can quickly rename the file. You're not seeing it here, but yeah. So we can rename this. So the same move command, the md command can what? Can be used to rename, right? So see this here. So we can use the move command to change location. Like maybe you can say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm moving from Lagos to Abuja. Or you are changing location. That's move. That's what it means. But again, what? We can use the move command to run ls here to just correct. We want to rename, okay, file with changing its location. We can do move what? Daniel into what? Into Daniel. So I'm giving this a new name. Okay, you are renaming. See that? ls here. That's done. And then we do this. See that? Perfect. So that is done. The move command is used both as it's used to completely move something from one location to another. And again, what it can be used to rename. That's a summary. Then we have the cp command. Let's say I want to what, copy Elvis into LionTech. So now Elvis is copied. So history. See that? We what? We're able to copy Elvis into LionTech, but we still have Elvis here. But if I seed into LionTech, I what? I'm going to have Elvis here. So this is comparable, like you go to documentation and you say, hey, I want a photocopy of my passport, right? So they do the photocopy and they still give you your passport back to you. But now you have an extra copy. So it just equals to like duplication, right? I don't want to pop you guys so much. And then of course what the last command here is going to be yeah, the remove command. Let's see what we want to delete Elvis here, for example. Yeah, what we have this. If this is what I want you guys to, practice this week, get used to it, you know, learn with Git Bash and you will not regret it. Okay. So how many commands have we seen? The ls command, ls-l command here, right? Then what? We have the ls again -lt. Okay. And then we have what? The cd dot command to go back a bit. So now, first of all, we have what? We saw the pwd command, and you can what? Interpret this. So first of all, you are in the C drive users directory, and in the users here, we have different users, but you are logging as immigration. In the immigration user account, we have what? We have downloads as a folder, and we are in the download folder. In the download folder, we are where? We are in the January 12 tutorial. In here, we are the demo, and demo we are here. So how do I go back to demo? See that? See the what? No dot. And now if I run pwd, you will see we have what? So we've left from here to here. Again, if I go pwd again, dot here. And again, what? If I do pwd here again, where am I? You can see, so now, of course, what? I've left from LionTech to demo, and now I'm what? In January 12 tutorial. Excellent. Let's make directory, touch command, list, pwd, clear, and history. Please get used to these commands. I'm also going to share the PDF document with you. So of course, we have what we have. Okay, changing directories, for example, we have cd into what? cd, we have folder name, cd space dot dot, and then we have cd tira navigating what your system. Is so important that you understand. Okay, so you see how we were right here. So if I want to come back here, right, this sign is like leaving this location to just here. We use what? CD tiller. This sign is called tiller. It's also called or referred or interpreted as your home directory. Okay, that's what I'm explaining here. And then we have so touch command, make directory, create folders. I've looked at it already. Move, okay, move folder, and we have copy file. There we go. Be careful while deleting files permanently. So there is no recycle bin that I know of in Linux. Okay, so of course, right? So this is for you to practice these commands, and you are going to be okay in terms of getting started. Thank you so much. This is Prof. Prince. I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more educative tech videos like this. Our goal, my goal with the team here, LionTech, is to build your confidence and show you that yes, you can do it and you can succeed. Thank you so much, and the Lord bless you. Bye bye.